Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. We have our Sunday recap to take care of. Just two games to talk about, but there's so much more we need to talk about. Big reveal at the end, something I've wanted to do for quite a while now, and we finally have enough people to do it. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But we've got two games to recap. We've got to talk about the standings. Let's go dive into it. Right, we need to take a look at our opening game of Sunday between New Mexico and Tucson, and final game between these two teams, as this will be the third matchup that they've gone through. We're going to start it off broadcast saying that Donovan Portieri will start for New Mexico. The reason I bring that up is because they have three quarterbacks on their roster, and they just got Von Rucker from Vegas, so that's why it's important to put on here. We're going to start the game. Ring, ring, hello. That's a house call. Aaron Jackson on the other line. It is a kick return touchdown to start the game for the Tucson Sugar Skulls. Now the momentum kind of loses its luster and a botched extra point, but still, kick return touchdown nonetheless. 6-0 Tucson to start the game. New Mexico faces a 3rd and 6 pass nearly picked off, but it is dropped. Kevin Macias comes out for a field goal a few plays later, probably just kind of a field flipper, glorified punt. It is, although let's just be honest, that kick was shanked really badly. So it goes into the stands and not behind the goal line, but yeah. Jerome Johnson with some early rushing to move the chains for Tucson. Johnson keeps again. He takes it in for the score off the right side. Tucson then gets slapped with a taunting for their touchdown. Jerome Johnson takes the ball, throws it into the stands right by the New Mexico bench, and the entire team standing right around there. You knew what you were doing. Don't lie. Woodard hits the extra point. It's 13-0 in favor of Tucson. Penalty yardage added as New Mexico begins on the Tucson side of the field. The James White rushes up the middle for 7 yards. Third down upcoming. Arthur Jackson III brings in a pass to the 1. Nope. Refs signal touchdown, and it is. New Mexico, they get on the board. It is 13-7. Next drive, Jerome loads up, throws deep. Javian Lofton comes back for it. 1st and goal already to the New Mexico 2. What a throw. What a way to come back and battle back for the ball. Goal to go goes nowhere. Johnson wrapped up for a loss, and we bring up a 4th and goal. Woodard comes out for a field goal, and he hits it. 16-7 Tucson. Quick side note, I say Woodard. It sounds like a Pittsburgh Yinzer saying water or something like that. So Woodard, there you go. White is smacked for a big loss as we hit the end of the first quarter for New Mexico. Third down for the Chupacabras. Jefferson, slant route, catch. C.J. Jefferson has a 1st down. Tucson challenging the catch as an incompletion. They lose the challenge. Jefferson has another catch, but it's inside the 5, but it's 3rd and goal. So, a couple of plays. We got an incomplete pass that makes it 4th and goal. Kevin Macias comes out for a field goal, and that one, the former Tucson kicker, doesn't make it in his former home. Tucson will take over at their 5. Jerome Johnson calls his own number for a 1st down rush. However, drive starts to stall out. We have a 3rd and 11 a couple plays after. One-handed. Oh my God, if you have not seen this catch, go find it. Is this on over now? It's on Yahoo. So wait a week. I'm not sure, but go find this because I'm going to find it and download it, whatever. One-handed catch, Javian Lofton. That man has a family. I don't know who he mossed or what he did, but just a beautiful one-handed catch for a touchdown. Seriously, if you can find it online on Twitter or something like that, I am not exaggerating. It is one of the best catches of the year. 23-7 with that touchdown. Not to try and overhype it, but for me, I love that catch. 23-7, Sugar Skulls extend their lead. Quick 3rd down for New Mexico. They need to get going here. Portery to DeMont Street for a 1st down. Screen pass to Jefferson gains another. 2 straight plays for losses, though. Tucson's defense, they're looking good. 3rd and 16 for the Chupacabras. Portery over the middle, pass nearly picked off by Breon Murray. 4th down for the Chupacabras. They're going for it. Portery looks, has Street, but it's not even close to the 1st down here. Tucson will take over on downs. Brandon Mackey getting in on the action. 3rd and 3, McGriff, new signee over from Tulsa. I want to say Fred McGriff, but that's a Chicago Cub. Justin McGriff hauls in hauls in a reception for a 1st down at 17 seconds left in the half. Johnson rolls right, throws across the field, across the body. Waters has a touchdown, but holding will negate it. We have 3 seconds left in the half. Woodard comes out for a field goal before the half. Kick is shanked too. 23-7 is still our score as we hit the halftime whistle. You can see where the caffeine is starting to kick in. first down completion is New Mexico is throwing 3-yard completions roughly. Like they're doing some check downs. They're not really testing fate, throwing it deep, doing things like that right now. Pass interference will give New Mexico a first down and more yards. Saunier called for a targeting and some more yards and everything for that. Tucson with another penalty, unsportsmanlike, and they're starting to become undisciplined here. First and goal, New Mexico. White is in the Wildcat formation, takes the snap, takes it in for the score, 23-14. New Mexico back in this. They need a stop. In stride, Jerome Johnson dropping the bucket for Jerron Waters on a post route, touchdown Tucson. That is not the stop. Instead, Sugar Skulls respond. It's 30-14. Bad to worse for the Chupacabras. Porter's pass slips out of his hand right into the arms of Rafiq Abdul-Wahid. It's a pick six somehow, some way. Suddenly, it is 37-14 in favor of the Tucson Sugar Skulls. Tucson getting to Portery now in the backfield. Quarterback hits, disruption, some tackles for loss and stuff like that too. So the defense is really starting to pick things up. Street jumps for a pass, takes off inside the Tucson 7. Can they punch this one in? Slant route for James White. No one covers him. He's in the end zone. That's a touchdown for the Chupacabras. 37-20 with a missed extra point. Tucson has their drive stall out. Johnson's third down rush gains minimal. Fourth down field goal try by Woodard is no good as we end the third quarter. Walter Wilbon with a slant route catch brings up a third and short. C.J. Jefferson will pick up the first. Deep shot for Portery. Aaron Jackson picks him off, but roughing the passer bails out the Chupacabras. New Mexico can't take advantage of that, though. They go 4 and out, and they turn it over on downs. Super rocket boost. Jerome Johnson sprints up the middle for a first down to the New Mexico side of the field. Johnson improvises again. Holding calls it back, though. Brandon Mackey. Next play, check down. He has a seam down the sideline to get all of those penalty yards back. However, brings up a 3rd and 10. Johnson fires into the end zone. Javian Lofton has another score, 44-20. Tucson, they're looking like they're cruising towards victory here. Portery overthrows his target. Aaron Jackson has an interception, and this time there's nothing to pull that one back. So he has that one to go along with a coast-to-coast kickoff return touchdown. DeJuan Mathis into the game at quarterback for Tucson. 3rd and long for the Sugar Skulls. Delay of game will back them up further. Mathis wrapped up in the end zone, tries to throw it, and that's intentional grounding, so it's a safety for New Mexico. It's 44-22. They'll get the ball back, but not before Ben Woodard hits a deuce. 2 points going Tucson's way, 46-22. Portery tackled right at the goal line. No safety is called, but a delay of game is called. 5 seconds left in the game, 4th and 15 for New Mexico, and the game will end in a safety. So Tucson, they tack on 2 more points. They will take the victory in this one by the score of 48-22. All right, so taking a look at the stats in front of us here. 48-22, Tucson completes the 3-game sweep of the New Mexico Chupacabras this season. Oh, man. What looked promising last week against their game against San Diego, this is another game where New Mexico fails to score like 30 points, something like that. When you consider, I'll pull up the schedule really quick. They scored 45 against San Diego last week, and then a couple weeks ago, all the way back at the beginning of May, they scored 32 in a loss to Jacksonville, where they were kind of winning that game too. Other than that, they've scored 12, 15, 11, and 22, and I think the game before that, they even scored 26, and that was against Tucson as well. So overall, this team just cannot really get the offense going. Very rarely do they do. And in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, they have scored over 30 twice. So 5 out of 7, and over 40 once. So as much as we want to harp on San Antonio or Iowa or whoever, New Mexico is really failing to put up points. And when it comes to not even putting up 25, man, like it's getting bleak. And I know quarterback roulette and everything, but yeah, so Tucson dominates this one, man. It'll look kind of respectable here, but all things considered, Tucson kind of dominated this game. Taking a look at the game leaders on both sides. For the passing leaders, Donovan Portieri, 21 of 32, 145 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not the best day, not the worst day. I say that a lot, but all things considered, with the pressure and everything that he was facing in this game, throwing it 32 times, they were playing from behind for most, if not all of the game, even from the opening kickoff return touchdown. He was up against it, man. And he's only started 2 games. I know he's a veteran in the league, but all things considered, getting back into this, going through all the quarterback roulette, you got to at least tip your cap a little bit. I mean, he did play respectfully, however you want to pronounce it, and all things considered, I can't really like give him a demerit when it comes to this. It wasn't the best day. It was just a day. I was whelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed or underwhelmed. I was whelmed. Here's where I was underwhelmed. Though rushing, LeJames White, 9 carries for 12 yards and 1 touchdown. He did score a touchdown, but when you look on the right side, only 6 total rushing yards. And yes, some of that was because of sacks and tackles for losses and stuff like that. But LeJames White, 9 carries for 12 yards. That will not play when it comes to this, man. I don't really know how else to kind of describe it. No one even really rushed other than White. Everyone else had negative rushes. So, C.J. Jefferson, your leading receiver, 9 catches, 65 yards, no touchdowns. Jackson had 1. LeJames White had 1. Demont Street had some catches, I know that. But overall, it was kind of the C.J. Jefferson show. You spread the ball around evenly, but Jefferson was kind of the guy. So even though he didn't get into the end zone, he was able to get a couple of first downs, if I'm not mistaken, and kind of just make things as best as they could. To the Tucson side, Jerome Johnson, 7 for 11, 167, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. They didn't really need to throw the ball too much. Their defense was taking care of business. They're setting them up with short fields. They had some deep bombs and things along those lines. So almost half of your completions were touchdowns. You had the beautiful one-handed catch. You had the other touchdown. I think it was to Waters or Lofton again. Either way, you threw 3 touchdowns. You only completed 7 passes. I can't really knock him for that either. Where I can praise him too is in the rushing. He's doing exactly what he did at New Mexico's your leading rusher, Jerome Johnson, 10 carries, 64 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. So 4 total touchdowns, 200 plus, 210 plus, 220, whatever. He was very good. He's taken over the offense, and that's exactly the spark that Tucson has needed, considering what they've had from Draylon Ellis to Casey Otto to Taz Wilson to anything. Like Tucson has got their guy. So that's where we have it. Javian Lofton, 3 catches, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, if he had 3 catches for 3 touchdowns, I'd call that the Randy Moss stat line because that's pretty damn close to what he had. Which, again, I say that a lot. If you don't know who the Randy Moss stat line is or what it is, it was his Thanksgiving game where I think he had 3 catches for 160-something yards from 3 touchdowns. It's an insane stat, and I love it every time it pops up. Either way, I know I should know it by heart. I'm sorry, I apologize. But either way, it's an insane stat, and I love it. Team stats on the right side here. Tucson, they didn't have a lot of third downs, and they converted 60% of them. So can't really complain when it comes to that. Somehow, some way, they didn't have fourth downs, even though I know they kicked some field goals. So they're, 0 for 3 on third downs for New Mexico, 5 for 10. Again, 50%. Can't necessarily knock New Mexico, but when you're playing from behind, hopefully you can get more third downs and live and die, and you kind of died by it. You couldn't really convert a fourth down either, so that's where you get you. Total yards easily favor Tucson, even though they didn't have to throw it too much. They didn't have to run it too much, but they still gained yards. Passing, it's kind of even though Tucson had a little bit more on way less attempts and way less completions. So they were chucking it deep, man. Rushing, again, 6 rushing yards. And it's the same thing I've mentioned with San Antonio. What do you do? Because when Jerome Johnson was on the New Mexico side, they were able to run the ball a little bit with his improvisational skills, and you don't really have that now. They have not really had it. LeJames White's carried the ball a little bit, but I think when I was doing the stats, I think Von Rucker is the second leading rusher, and he just got on the team. That's insane. So, he hasn't played. Field goals, 2 for 4 for Tucson, so Ben Woodard with Kevin Macias, who are you kind of thing. Kicking 2 field goals, Macias missing the only one that he had. 11 penalties for 1 yard. That is completely accurate. And then New Mexico had 1 penalty for 0 yards. Again, that is absolutely 100% accurate. Good job, Indoor Football League stats. No, that's not accurate at all, guys. Come on. We got to fix the penalty stats because I just do not trust them. Turnovers, just the 1 interception by Donovan Portieri. Neither team had a fumble to my knowledge or anything along those lines that I can remember, so I've rambled on enough about this. Taking a look at the defensive stats for New Mexico, 6 total tackles for Cam Bright and 1 tackle for a loss, 3 total tackles for Wes Bowers and 3 tackles for a loss, and then overall 5.5 tackles for a loss for the New Mexico Chupacabras and 2 pass breakups. Not really much else when it comes to that. For the Tucson side, 6.5 tackles for a loss, 1 interception by Aaron Jackson, 4 pass breakups for the Sugar Skulls defense. And again, special teams, they kick the 2 field goals, you have the kick return touchdown. Aaron Jackson, 1 pick, 6 solo tackles, 1 assisted for 6.5. And Malik Saunier, 5 solo tackles, 1 assisted for 5.5, 2 tackles for a loss, and 1 pass breakup. So overall, defense came to play, a lot of tackles for a loss on this. And Tucson pulls out the victory and kind of dominate, like I said earlier. So that's where we have it. Let's go take a look at our bet, and then we got one more recap to do. I was worried about New Mexico's offense and whether or not they would score points. Tucson held up their end of the deal. New Mexico, not so much. We got close. We got to what, 70? Oh, well. All right, so final game of Week 13, final game of Sunday, whatever you want to call it, and we're saving the best for last. Game of the year? Up to this point, question mark? I don't know if we've had anything better. Almost had the upset of the century, man. At least in terms of like betting odds and stuff like that. I don't know if we've seen anything quite like this, but unfortunately, the evil empire won, man. The dark side rises again. Darth Vader. It's only fitting that the team with black and red and all that stuff. So anyway, let's get into it. Wranglers begin with a 3-and-out, 4th down for Northern Arizona. Manny Aguirre out for a field goal, and it's just kind of a field flipper. Vegas earns a 1st down, but they've already been called for 2 false starts. We'll see if that becomes a thing. Jaden DeLora launches to throw, and it's a strip sack for Northern Arizona. Kalen Hicks has the recovery. Change of possession here. 3rd and goal for Northern Arizona. Pass goes incomplete. Offense staying out there. 4th down pass. Karan Ashley open back of the end zone, and Northern Arizona strikes first. 7-0. And more. Manny Aguirre, another deuce for the young man. 9-0 in favor of the Wranglers. Vegas starting to move down the field on their next offensive possession as they're starting to get going here. Stoudemire with a catch inside the 5, 1st and goal for Vegas. Josh Tomas walks in for the score. 9-7 as Nighthawks. They're right back in it. Anthony Garrett, the former Nighthawk, pump fakes and takes off, tries to leap over defender, goes airborne. 3rd and 1 pass converts for a 1st down to Kobe Smith. Another 3rd down for Northern Arizona. Garrett leads his target right into the arms of Kobe Smith on his way to pay dirt. Touchdown, Wranglers, 16-9. Start of the 2nd quarter, Manny Aguirre, the man with the golden leg, 18-7 with another deuce. What is going on? Quentin Randolph open for a 1st down to midfield for the Nighthawks. Daiwan Griffin with a nice pass breakup, but Northern Arizona's penalty will nullify it. Jaden DeLora with a touch pass to Sean Stoudemire with arms wide open. Thank you, Creed. Touchdown, Vegas. 18-14, Nighthawks right back in it again. Garrett rushes for a 1st down to the Vegas side. Holding sets Northern Arizona back. They're able to get most of it back, but it's 3rd and 11 at this point. I don't know how he catches this one, though. Ben Amayabu brings one in, and it is a 1st down. Garrett has time, throws right to Urshad Davis, who can't pick it off. It's right in his hands, too. Instead, it's 3rd and goal for the Wranglers. Garrett runs for a little, 4th and goal, and then he floats to Kobe Smith. It's another touchdown for Smith. It's 25-14. I don't know what's going on. Jaden DeLora using his legs to get a 1st down. Curious to see how Vegas responds here. You're down by 11. Pretty well, dare I say. Nighthawks inside the red zone, 1st and goal. Wide open, John Irby in the end zone. There's that response. 25-21, Northern Arizona's lead is back to 4. Onside kick goes out of bounds. Northern Arizona gets set up pretty well. Tossed to the right side, Ben Omeabu does the rest on his way to 6 points, and it's 32-21 as we hit the 1-minute warning. Jaden DeLora has an open Randolph, but it's off his hands. Stoudemire with a catch, jukes a defender, turns on the speed up the field, takes it home right before the half. It is 32-28. Vegas keeping pace here. Can Northern Arizona? Garrett to the end zone. It will draw a defensive pass interference on Vegas. Fouché has a pass breakup, almost intercepted. Northern Arizona, they're being kind of aggressive right now. 3rd and 15, Garrett to Omeabu for not much of anything, and then Aguirre's out for a field goal before the half kick is up. It's no good. And we go into the break, 32-28, Northern Arizona clinging to that 4-point lead. Coming out of the second half, that golden leg doing it once more. Manny Aguirre with a deuce to start the second half, 34-28 Wranglers. Josh Tomas down the sideline into Northern Arizona territory with a nice rush as Vegas wants that lead. Delora to Randolph at the sticks for a first down, and then Stoudemire has a catch inside the 5 again. 2 tackles for a loss, though, for Northern Arizona afterwards. It brings up a 4th and goal for the Nighthawks. Jane Delora gets flushed out of the pocket, throws to the end zone, is picked by Kieran Davis. That man is a ball hawk, I swear. Karan Ashley with a first down catch. I don't know how he caught that one. Oh my God, Marlon Cook with one of the best catches this weekend. Garrett throws deep. He's behind his defender and just hangs onto it. 42-28, or 41-28, Northern Arizona. Again, I thought I was dumbfounded in the last catch of the year. This might be the catch of the year. We've had so many great touchdown catches throughout this season. Stoudemire has a first down catch. Tomas has an easy dump-off reception. Down the sideline, he flashes his speed. He goes inside the 5, first and goal. And then Josh Tomas is going to cap it off. It's a handoff to the left side of center, and in 41-35, Vegas cuts that deficit back to a 1 possession. Omayabu cannot get the kickoff in time. It's a rouge. Throat's acting up. It's a rouge. Vegas gets a point, and it's now 41-36. Backed up to the 3-inch line, or so, give or take. Garrett up the middle, stays on his feet all the way out to the 25. What a run for Anthony Garrett. Another end zone pass, another defensive pass interference on Vegas. Auto first down, and moving the chains, moving the yards, doing all that. Garrett runs up the middle again. He has green all around him. He follows Marlon Cook to the end zone as the lead blocker, dives across the goal line. Incredible. 47-36, Northern Arizona. Vegas getting a couple yards. They're hit with a blindside block that will back them up, so Vegas accruing quite a bit of penalties here. Seneca McKee open on the left side. Delora buys time, finds him. He cuts back inside, gets a block, and off to the races to the goal line. So he cuts from the left side and goes all the way to the right side, and he's able to just drag race it all the way to the goal line and in. He wins that race. Touchdown Vegas, 47-43 Nighthawks. They are still right there hanging around. Northern Arizona has a drive stall out. 3rd and 9. Pass goes incomplete and it's decision time. 4th down. Wranglers bring out Aguera. Kick is no good. Vegas can lead for the first time tonight if they can score. Tomas trips himself up, but not before he gets to the Northern Arizona side of the field. Kalen Hicks, like a rocket, up the middle and sacks Delora. 3rd and 17 for Vegas. Now McKee open in the zone coverage for a first down. Delora lofts an end zone pass. Mr. Vegas, Mr. New Vegas, if you're a Fallout fan. Quentin Randolph is underneath it because, of course, he is. A touchdown, Nighthawks, 50-47, and they take their first lead. Of the night. Another pass I thought would be tipped away. Karan Ashley somehow has it. He has space. Oh my God, he breaks 2 tackles. He's in for the score. Wranglers right back up in this, 54-50. And it's more than that. Manny Aguera, golden leg Aguera, 56-50. Northern Arizona back up to 6. McKee over the middle. He has a catch for a first down. Tries to break free but can't. Brings in another one for 9 yards after that. Tomas untouched until the 1 yard line. Lowers the shoulder. Lays the boom as he scores. And he hurt Kieran Page with that hit. I mean, he was down for a minute. That's not good. I mean, trainers coming out, doing all that. Page already wearing a Guardian cap after a concussion earlier this year. You hope everything's all right. He will return, though. Not right away, but you get what I'm saying. Rui's extra point is good. 57-56. Vegas leads by 1 as we get back to action. Page was able to get up and walk under his own power, so that's good to see. Deep pass broken up by Fred, 31 Flavors. That's a Baskin-Robbins reference if you didn't know. A couple plays later, it's 3rd down. Northern Arizona bailed out by a defensive pass interference once more. Garrett to Marlon Cook for a couple of yards as we go under 2 minutes to play. Offsides on Vegas. First down to Northern Arizona as we head to the 1 minute warning. Garrett, quarterback draw, has a blocker, goes inside the 5 to the 3. It's a 1st and goal. And then unsportsmanlike on Garrett after the play, so DeMarcus Bryant has to come in for a play, and that's backed up 15 yards. Northern Arizona content with keeping this on the ground, making Vegas use their timeouts. Omeabu has a catch, but he makes sure to stay in bounds. Cook catches inside the 5, 1st and goal, Wranglers. Vegas has no timeouts. You have 38 seconds left, and it's 1st and goal. All you have to do is gain positive yardage here. Actually, you don't because you're trailing. Anthony Garrett has a keeper, and they score. Why? Why do you score here? That's exactly what Vegas wanted you to do. I'm angry. I'm yelling at the TV. Oh my God. Cook has the 2-point conversion in at 64-57 with 34 seconds to play. But why did you score? Stoudemire catch, tries to get to the sideline. There it goes. Or there's going to be a late hit on Northern Arizona to move Vegas closer, trying to tie this up. And then, nope, we have offsetting penalties, actually. 26 seconds left on the clock for Vegas at midfield. Delora looks. Kieran Page rises from the ashes for a pass breakup. And then Delora has time, rolls left, fires to the end zone. Seneca McKee back of the end zone. He has it. Touchdown, Vegas. Rui extra point good. We are tied at 64 with 11 seconds left, just like I said they would. Kickoff through the end zone. Northern Arizona has it at the 20. Garrett to the 1-yard line. Pass is broken up. Aguera out for a game-winning field goal. Snap down, kick up. It is wide left, and we head to overtime. Vegas is going to start overtime on offense to begin it. Tomas has a rush, picks up 8. Delora making moves on an RPO keeper down to the 1. He takes it in on the next play. It's a touchdown for the Nighthawks, 71-64. Vegas leads. Northern Arizona has a chance to answer. Garrett tries to escape pressure, pretty much sacked by his own offensive lineman. 3rd and 19 upcoming from Northern Arizona. Marlon Cook literally steals the ball away from Fred Flavors for a touchdown. That just happened. What do you do? They're going to go for 2 here. 2-point try for Northern Arizona. Garrett gets the snap, throws it back to the end zone, and it's Mr. Vegas. The wide receiver, Quentin Randolph, the wide receiver, not the defensive back, the wide receiver, tips it away. Breaks up the 2-point conversion. Vegas takes the victory, claws back, and wins it 71-70 in overtime. All right. Stats on the screen in front of us, and I'm still mad. Having to recap this, I am still mad. You had 38 seconds to go. Vegas had no timeouts, and you score the touchdown. Yes, there's the opportunity that you were trailing in this game, and there's no guarantee that the field goal would have been good. It would have been blocked. I get it. But my God, when you have a chance to take out the evil empire, you take that chance. Instead, you gave them the opportunity to get it to overtime. It took you a 2-point conversion to even get it up there, and Vegas still came back. That's just insane to me. You had the upset of the year right there. So I can't fault them for being aggressive and going with the touchdown, saying we'll leave it up to our defense. You let Vegas hang around. There's a reason why they only have 1 loss, and they're on the, 9-game winning streak or whatever it is now. There's a reason why you only have 1 win. So I get being aggressive, but yeah, it sucks, man. But now let's take a look at our game leaders for both sides here. For Vegas, Jaden Delora, 20 of 23, 296 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Like I said, that man was deadly. 20 of 23 passing. And you said, we'll leave it up to our defense to get the stop here after we scored the touchdown that we thought would be the game winner. You can't do that. You just can't. The offense was too good in this, man. I'm sorry. But, yeah, Jaden Delora, surgical. I mean, he had the 1 interception, but other than that, 2 other incompletions besides it. 6 total touchdowns. The man was on fire. What can you say? That was a very, very good offensive performance for the Vegas Nighthawks. Josh Tomas, same thing. 11 carries, 95 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was the rushing attack for this team. So when they relied on him to rush the ball, they just handed it to number 2, and he took off when he needed to. And, Delora and a couple of others had some carries, if I'm not mistaken. And, yeah, it was pretty much Josh Tomas to lose when it came to running. Seneca McKee, what a breakout game for this man. And you were wondering when Phoenix Sproles went to a different league if someone else is going to kind of pick up the mantle after Sean Stoudemire and Quentin Randolph. And here's Seneca McKee, man. 6 catches, 117 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Practically the receiving game. Again, not necessarily. Deshaun Stoudemire had a hell of a game, too. He got a couple of touchdowns, and he had quite a few catches, if I'm not mistaken. Quentin Randolph, we'll talk about him in a whole different section in a second, man. But, yeah, Seneca McKee, really good game receiving. Anthony Garrett, 16 of 27, 171 yards, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. What a performance for him. When he started, you're wondering, hey, he went, 4 of 14 in his first game? He was able to run the ball, but you're wondering, is this the guy? Is he accurate? He's proven himself to be worthy right now. And, yes, you lost by a point. Yes, it still sucks you lost, but at the same time, there is some hope. There is some promise here because if you can get a performance like him, and we'll talk about him in one more second too, if you can get the performance like what he just did against Vegas, you can rattle off some more wins before the end of the season. Case in point, 14 carries, 91 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. It might be worthy enough for him to be Offensive Player of the Week. 8 total touchdowns, 262 total yards. It didn't result in a win, so that might knock him out of it, but that's the best performance I've seen from a Northern Arizona player all year. Marlon Cook, 4 catches, 69 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. He balled out as well. The receiving corps balled out. What an offensive explosion that this team had. Cook had 2 touchdowns. Karan Ashley had a couple of touchdowns. Kobe Smith started the game with a couple of touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. So, all in all, I mean, this is just a great performance for Northern Arizona. Again, you're mad you lost, but at the same time, something to hang your hat on a little bit. Team stats on the right side here. Not a lot of third downs for Vegas, and I mean the stats will show they're only 33%, which isn't that good, but at the same time, 50% on fourth downs, can't really make too much of it. They had 15 first downs, so they were able to move the ball and move the chains. Northern Arizona only had 6 first downs. They were living and dying by third down, and they did complete both of their fourth downs. So there's definitely more fourth downs that they had, but oh well. Total offense and passing yards, I mean, it favored Vegas. And again, just surgical passing. When they needed to throw it, when they needed to convert, when they needed sideline passes or over the middle passes or whatever it could be, DeLora was able to carve up this defense. And yeah, I mean, they scored 71 points, man. What can you say? The defense for both sides actually was pretty optional. Rushing, again, favors Vegas by not a lot. I mean, Anthony Garrett was able to carry this team. And even Beno Meabu had a couple of carries too. And that's really it. Nolan Susel was actually not really a factor in this one, all things considered, man. And you wonder if he would have been able to get going, how much more of a rushing attack you could have had, or if it even mattered since you were throwing the ball. Field goals 0 for 3 for Manny Aguirre. He hit a bunch of deuces, but you're wondering if he just would have hit one of those field goals, man, or a couple of those, could this have gone differently? You never know. And I'm not going to blame him. He's not the sole blame. There are plenty of plays that you could have changed that could have made the outcome. But if any of those field goals would have gone in, you're singing a different tune probably. Penalties, and this is something I do want to touch on. Vegas got called for quite a bit of penalties in this one. Defensive pass interferences, I think they had a late hit or roughing the passer or something like that, or maybe that was Northern Arizona, but regardless, some holding, some false starts, delay of game, or whatever it could be. Like they had quite a few penalties in this one, and I don't know if it was necessarily home cooking, but there was definitely some. After like the third pass interference, you're wondering if there was some home cooking, because I think they had 3 or 4 pass interferences or something like that, man. So all in all, Vegas, I'm not saying they had to beat 2 teams. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is there were some calls in this game where I went, oh, so we're calling it like this. So you're wondering if Vegas could get those calls, and yes and no. I mean, it's fairly even when you look at the yardage, when you look at the penalties, a little bit more. So I'm not going to say the refs were to blame or anything. Vegas still won, but Northern Arizona did use those defensive pass interferences to their advantage. I will say that. Clean game for Northern Arizona. No turnovers. 2 turnovers for Vegas, the interception and the lost fumble. So being able to take advantage of that, Northern Arizona made it a game and almost pulled the upset. Taking a look at the defensive stats here, 6 total tackles for Maurice Jackson, coming over from New Mexico from 2 weeks ago. 1 sack, 3 tackles for a loss, and a pass breakup. Lorenzo Hernandez, 3 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss. And, overall, Vegas, 2 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss, 7 pass breakups. Talk about that in one sec. For Northern Arizona, Traveris Farrell, 7 solo tackles, 2 assisted for a total of 8, 1 tackle for a loss. Kalen Hicks, 5 solo tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, and 1 fumble recovery. And Kieran Page, 2 solo tackles, 3 assisted for a total of 3.5, 1 interception, and 1 pass breakup. Overall, the Wranglers had 2 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception, and 1 pass breakup. But the 1 pass breakup that made all the difference, Quentin Randolph. Now, I think it was Ershaw Davis or someone that was injured, and Quentin Randolph, and I will say, to the credit of Trey from Off the Wall, I have to give credit where that's due, because I didn't notice this, but Randolph was playing defensive back for a little bit in that fourth quarter, so something happened where a player did get hurt. I think it was Ershaw Davis, might have been someone else, but the game-winning pass breakup is by the wide receiver Quentin Randolph. So having to go Iron Man with it, play wide receiver, then get right on the other side of the ball and play defensive back. It happens. And he made the most of it. In the most crucial of times, the man that has been with the franchise since the start of it, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Vegas, he takes care of business, man. Gets Vegas the victory. So that's where we have it. Let's go take a look at our bet. And we got to take a look at our standings. Got to go take a look at some rankings. And we'll wrap everything up after that. We'll get out of here. You know the saying. They didn't win. Good teams win, though. Great teams cover. All right, we need to talk some standings here. We have a new number 1 in the East. It is the Jacksonville Sharks taking over with Green Bay losing it to Quad City. Jacksonville getting the victory over San Antonio, which leapfrogs them into the number 1 spot. There are now only 2 teams with 1 loss. Jacksonville's only losses to Vegas. Vegas's only losses to Green Bay. Green Bay's only losses are to Quad City. Make it make sense. No, so what we have right now is a clear... we'll go with the West first here, and then we'll go to the East. You have a clear 3-way, and we've said this the amount of recaps we've had, a clear 3-way to 4-way, the top and the bottom in the West. Vegas, San Diego, and Arizona, and it has been shaking out that way as each week has progressed. But what we're starting to see here is you are probably going to get a team under 500 into the playoffs. Because right now, Tucson at 6 losses and San Antonio at 7 losses. If these losses keep accruing, then there's a chance you get a 7-9, even a 6-10 team potentially into that 4 spot. And that bodes well for New Mexico and Northern Arizona. And what I mean by that is they're not completely out of it. Because if they can rattle off, and I'm not going to say they're going to win 6 or 7 straight games now, but if there's a chance that this goes to 6-10, if New Mexico or Northern Arizona can rattle off any sort of wins, they could potentially make some noise. Now, let's not put the cart before the horse. But right now, I think it's still between Tucson and San Antonio. But it seems like as soon as one team wins, whether it's Tucson or San Antonio, they end up losing like the next week or something. Tucson plays Vegas next. So there's a chance that San Antonio can get up in front of them if they win and Tucson loses. So there you go. But let's get into that really quick with the West. And I don't really do like previews for the next week. That's what the previews are for. But Vegas does play Tucson. And if Vegas wins that game against Tucson, they clinch a playoff spot. So Vegas would go to 10-1 and Tucson goes to 4-7. And that clinches them. They can't drop any further than third, really. So, or even fourth, I guess, whatever it would be. And yeah, I mean, they clinch a playoff spot with 6 weeks left to go. And that's kind of insane. And eventually they'll start to see some of these spots start to, clear themselves up here, because if that happens and Tucson gets to 7 losses and if San Antonio loses and they go to 8, then that's only going to bode even further for San Diego and Arizona, as if those teams win, then you get to 8 wins for San Diego and Arizona, and San Antonio has 8 losses. And I don't know what the tiebreakers are with head-to-heads as of right now off the top of my head. But it's looking like you're going to see these teams clinch within the next couple of weeks if Tucson and San Antonio can't get things going. San Antonio's lost 4 in a row. You look at there on the right side. And then New Mexico's lost 7, and Northern Arizona's lost 3. So at least Tucson's 1-2. Can they keep that going if they can upset Vegas? I mean, Northern Arizona almost did, so never say never, I guess. But that's where we kind of have it with the West in terms of all of that. For the East, we have a chance for 2 teams to clinch a playoff spot as early as of this upcoming week, and that is Jacksonville and Green Bay. Why, do you ask? Well, because Fishers is sitting at 5-6, and Jacksonville and Green Bay both own the head-to-head tiebreaker, which is the first tiebreaker in this. So if those teams get to 10 wins, they clinch. Someone's clinching a playoff spot next week, because Jacksonville and Green Bay play each other on Friday night, which means Jacksonville or Green Bay is going to get to 10 wins. They own the tiebreaker against Fishers, which means the best Fishers can get is 10-6. The worst Jacksonville can get, or whoever wins, the worst they can get is 10-6. So Jacksonville or Green Bay, whoever it is, they clinch the playoff spot. And then there is the opportunity that Fishers plays Arizona. So if Fishers loses to Arizona and drops to 5-7, that other team with nine wins, 9-3 Green Bay or 9-2 Jacksonville, they should clinch a playoff spot if Fishers loses, because 7 losses, the best that Fishers can do is 9-7. You own the head-to-head tiebreaker. So Green Bay's beat them twice, and they play one more time. So there's no way that Fishers can get past that. And Jacksonville's already swept them both times this season. So there's no way that that can happen. So if Fishers loses, I think both those teams clinch regardless. So there's a possibility that after Week 14, 3 of your 8 playoff spots are already clinched. There you go. It's getting dicey there in 3, 4, and 5 for Orlando, Tulsa, and Fishers. Tulsa leapfrogs Fishers with their overtime victory. They are now in the 4th spot. Quad City gets a victory to put a little bit more pressure up there. So it's really getting kind of dicey. And this is what we talked about earlier in this season, where the East is going to be kind of a gauntlet. Now, I thought it'd be a little bit more parity. I didn't expect teams to kind of jump out like Jacksonville and Green Bay have, but we do have a battle between 3, 4, 5, and 6, with Quad City hanging on there. But there is that possibility if Orlando, Fishers has lost 5 in a row, man. There's no way they lose 9, right? Not like last year? Am I putting bad juju out into the ether? I don't know. But regardless, I'm just saying that as a salty Quad City fan. You got leapfrog them, baby. Yeah, it's getting dicey there. Any loss right now can amplify it. Any win can amplify it. And we still got plenty of weeks to go to shake out how these potential final 2 or all 4 Eastern spots are going to be seeded and played. So that's where we have it in terms of our standings. Now, let's go take a look at some rankings. All right, so this is something I've wanted to do since the start of the season. I just didn't really know how to go about it or ask, but we have the IFL Writers Poll. So if you were a college football fan, you have 2, now 3 with the college football playoff. We don't have that, but you have the coaches poll that the Indoor Football League puts out every single week. And this is not a rival to that or anything. What this is, however, is a complement to it. What we don't see is how the coaches vote, and I don't care how they vote. It does not matter to me. What I care about is making sure that the people have their voices heard too. So while the coaches get to vote, so do the people that watch the game. So this is a group of dedicated guys that I've gotten together within the last week or two that put out their own little power rankings, that put out their own things, and we'll see who all voted for what, myself included. That way there's transparency with it. And again, I'm not trying to be like, oh, there's shady stuff going on with the coaches. I don't care. What we have here, first edition, Week 14's Indoor Football League Writers Poll. I can't say AP because we're on an Associated Press, and that's probably like libel or copyright or something. But the Writers Poll, and it'd be cool if we had a sponsor for it. No, anyway, all intents and purposes, this is what we have here. Vegas takes the top spot, 7 first-place votes, followed by Jacksonville with 2 first-place votes. Green Bay, Arizona, San Diego, Tulsa, Orlando, and that's your first half of the league. Followed by Fishers, Tucson, Quad City, San Antonio, Northern Arizona, New Mexico, and Iowa. You can see their records to the right of that, and you can see the points and how they're divvied out. This is no different than what the top 25 poll does for the AP or the coaches or anything like that. Even a lot of amount of points, and we did in reverse order. First place gets 14 points, so on and so forth, and you can see the first place votes. Vegas had 7, Jacksonville had 2. So that means that there are 9 people voting on this, and I wanted this to be a little tight-knit, first and foremost, people that actually watched the games or pretty damn close to it, catch the highlights, do whatever, and actually know ball in the sense, and I hate when people say that all the time, but in the regards of like they watch the Indoor Football League, they know the players, they know the coaches, they know the teams, things like that. They have a grasp. I'm not just asking like my dad or someone like that. He knows the teams and the players too, man. He's a huge fan, but regardless, these are people that, make graphics and do the same things that I do and everything like that. So I do want to give a huge shout out to the people that contributed to this. You'll catch their names and everything like that. But if you are watching this, kudos to you guys for helping out. It's as simple as they made their rankings. It was their own discretion. They put it how they wanted to. And again, their names are out there. I wanted to make this transparent. If someone is watching this and they have an issue because someone ranked Vegas the number 1 team instead of Jacksonville or, vice versa, whatever it could be, you know where to find them. So, and again, it's not to be like, hey, bring hate here. It's to be like, all right, if you truly think that there's a problem with how they rank teams, because that's how people do it with the AP poll, man. People get mad when South Florida is ranked 18th when they should be ranked 25th or whatever, and people get butthurt about it. So I'm sure this isn't to bring controversy. This is not my whole point. My whole point of this is to have people rank teams and have people be able to voice their opinions on something that gets hopefully some sort of notoriety when it comes to this. Because what I want to do eventually is have this for the whole season. This is kind of a trial run when it comes to that. How quickly can people give me the rankings? How do they do with the rankings and things like that? So it's nice to see that there is somewhat of a consensus and no one's putting Iowa at number 1 just for shits and giggles. So that's where we have it with this. I will go on and further explain the people who voted, where they come from, stuff like that, within not full detail, you know what I mean. But quick touch on this: Iowa and New Mexico got all the last place and second to last place votes, and then there was a lot of divvying up and everything like that between the rest of the teams. Other than that, it's like San Antonio, Northern Arizona, they battled for those 2 spots. Quad City, they were ranked some high, some low, and I think the most variation that we saw for any of the teams is probably either Tulsa, Fishers, or Orlando. So there's like that middle quadrant right there of 3, 4, 5 teams that some people had really no idea what to do with. But let's go check that out. All right, so you see here on the screen the list of people that voted on this. And like I said, maybe it grows next year as we get more teams and people see how it's going and they want to join in on this. We'll see how this pertains to it. But myself, Chris from Shady Sports Network, Alec from Sports Coast to Coast, Luke from State of the Stallions, Jim from Inside the Sharks, BJ from Indoor Football Index, Logan from Arena Football Historian, Eli from ArenaFootball.coverage, and Hayden from Superfan Sports. All kudos, all respect to you guys for getting your lists, myself included, damn it. But no, kudos to you guys for getting your lists into me, and a huge thank you for helping out with this as we venture on towards Week 14 and the future, and hopefully this can get better with time. Now, with that thank you, I do also want to say that all of these guys that I asked watched the games. Maybe not all of them, maybe their own favorite team, whatever the case could be, maybe only the game of the week, whatever. They still watch the games compared to people that just catch highlights or do whatever. So I do want to give shout-outs to them doing what they do. If not, then they at least make the power rankings and at least know the ball and know the coverage of it. So I will give you my spiel because I can't speak for everyone, but I'll tell you the reason why I made the rankings the way I did. I put Jacksonville at number 1. I'm one of only 2 people that did. Hayden from Superfan Sports is the only other one that did. And the reason why I did that is because Jacksonville has looked the part after their loss to Vegas. Now, with their loss to Vegas, that head-to-head should put Vegas ahead. And the only reason I dropped Vegas down is because they went toe-to-toe with Northern Arizona and nearly lost that game. Otherwise, Vegas would be number 1. Simple as that. I had to drop them a little bit. So, Green Bay loses. They drop. And then San Diego just has a little bit of a better record than Arizona. But I know Arizona's beaten San Diego, so you can make the case for San Diego or Arizona in that 4 and 5 spot. I'm not mad. I just put San Diego there for the sake of argument. They've got the better record. So that's where we have that. Orlando, they are kind of faltering, and if you see the entire list right there, not a lot of people know where to put Orlando. Some people don't know where to put Fishers or even Tulsa. I mean, look at Alec and Luke. They've got Tulsa, the 5th best team in the league. So, like I said, that's all subjective. Some people have people ranked in completely different spots, man. But Tulsa, Fishers, Quad City, that Eastern Conference right there, that's 6 through 9, all just kind of battling it out for those playoff spots and everything like that. And then you start getting into the West. I've got Quad City over Tucson just based on the head-to-head, and some people have Tucson ahead of Quad City, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, Luke from State of the Stallions has Tucson as the 7th best team in the league. So, and that's not a knock. Again, these are people's rankings. You can take it up with them. I'm just telling you what's on the screen. And then finally, 11 through 12, I've got Northern Arizona ahead of San Antonio because Northern Arizona went toe-to-toe with Vegas. They've played in close games, and San Antonio just does not look the part right now. Things can easily change from week to week with the rankings. And then everyone has New Mexico and Iowa in 13th and 14th. So that's where I have it. This is where everyone else has it. I've talked for quite a while, so you can look through the rankings and things like that. But I wanted to give you my reasoning and my rankings. Is it perfect? No. Will it ever be? No, because head-to-heads and best 2 of 3s and everything like that will always come into play. And, well, this team's got the better record in the West, but they haven't played anyone in the East or whatever the case. Again, it's not going to be perfect. We get that. But This is where we have it with the consensus. And that's how we have it with our first ever Indoor Football League Writer rankings. So let's go wrap everything up. Let's get out of here. And that is it for week 13 and all of the recaps and everything and rankings, standings, anything and everything. We've got, 7 weeks left in the regular season, and we've got some playoff spots that are already coming up for grabs here with week 14, at least to my knowledge, if I've done the math and everything correctly. So it will be here before you know it, and we are well past the halfway point. Playoffs will be here. We're getting closer and closer towards the end of the summer, which I know we're in the middle of the summer right now. We're just towards, the beginning of June. So we still have that. We still have July. It'll be the end before you know it. And that's sad. But it's been a really fun season, all things considered so far. And just keep chugging along, man. Week 14 will be here. We got a big game on Friday between Jacksonville and Green Bay, so we'll look forward to that one. But I'm going to take off here, guys. I love and appreciate every single one of you for taking the time to watch this. I know these videos get long, so I try and keep it like podcast kind of form in the sense where you can look at the graphics. You don't have to. And I try and narrate as much as I can, so you can just kind of put the phone down and listen if you want. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Might have to go more podcast form with it, but I do like showing the graphics and showing things along those lines too. Because hey, I did get a degree in graphic design, so I'd love to show off those skills. Either way, I'm going to take off here, guys. I love and appreciate you. If you want to like, comment, share, subscribe, great. And if you don't, that's great too. But I will catch you in those previews for week 14, and we just keep chugging along. So with that, take care. We'll see you guys then. See ya.